Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as LaughLoveLangella, and in today's video I am doing something a little bit different that I have never done before, and I am doing a Q&A for you guys. I've been on YouTube now for over 3 years, which is crazy to say out loud because it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it also feels like it's been longer at the same time. But it has been such an amazing journey, sharing our home, my decorating over the years, shop with me's, connecting with you all is the biggest takeaway that I have from joining YouTube. And I'll dive into that more in the Q&A, but I compiled a list of questions. I'm not going to be able to hit every single thing that people had asked me, but I'm going to do the repeat ones, especially the main points. That way you guys get to know me more on a personal level. Over the years, I've definitely shared little snippets here and there. Obviously, this is very focused on home and creating a home within your house, your rental, your apartment, whatever. But I just love being able to connect and get to know you guys a lot more closely. And I feel like this is a way to reciprocate that as well. But I will be sharing some most asked questions. If I don't address anything and you still have one, you can leave a comment down below. You can always send an email to me as well, and I will respond as quickly as I can. I do monitor my own email. It's not an agency that does that. So if you email me, you are talking to me. Same with Instagram and everything else, and YouTube. But I'm going off on a rant already. This is gonna be very chatty, obviously, but let's get right into it. So I have my laptop set up to the side right now with the questions displayed on it. So in case I keep kind of darting my eyes, know that there is a reason for that. But one of the most asked questions is, where am I from? I feel like a lot of people sometimes can't really tell because I don't have a very distinct accent in my mind, and I've been told that before. I am from New York. Born and raised on Long Island, went to school upstate in New York still, and lived in New York my entire life until we moved down to North Carolina in July of 2020, peak COVID. So we had planned to move, and it was one of those now or never type of situations. We found a rental that we liked, and literally a month and a half later, we decided to relocate. And do we miss New York was another one. Yes, we obviously do. Majority, literally all of our family still lives in New York. Everyone is amazing and makes an effort to visit down here very regularly, which is really wonderful. I do have a sister that's in Raleigh though, so she's plenty close, but still not close enough. The closest that I want her to be is in my house with me, but she's my sister because she's not actually my sister. She's not my blood sister, but I call her my sister to absolutely everybody because she literally is. But yes, we miss New York. We just knew that for our family, we were never going to fully get what we wanted living in New York, and especially Long Island. Long Island prices are absolute insanity. And we had dreams of expanding our family, living without having our neighbors watching our TV, living on some land, and that was just not in the cards for us for a significant amount of time. And patience is key in everything in life, but when it is a literal obstacle in front of you, you have to make a change. And we are so glad that we made that change. We still feel like there is a little bit more to us getting to exactly where we want to be, so we will move at some point, but I don't think it'll be out of North Carolina. But yeah, that's kind of like a light question mark in a sense. Another one is how my husband and I met. So it's actually funny. We grew up in the same neighborhood, riding the same bus to school and everything. He is a year older than me. So we went to the same schools and everything, but we weren't in the same grade. We knew of each other, but we were not friends with each other. And we had met actually at work, which is, well, re-met, I should say, because we already knew each other. But we had re-met at work, and just sparked a great friendship, and the rest is history from there. He's such a wonderful person and just is a yes man to absolutely everything, is an amazing cook, is an amazing worksman, is an amazing husband, father, just he's absolutely wonderful, and he helps so much behind the scenes of getting these projects done, also in the scenes too. Sometimes I'm able to sneak a clip of him doing some stuff, but he's the absolute biggest advocate and supporter of me doing YouTube and Instagram and everything else, social media in general. It's probably an easier thing to say, but he is absolutely wonderful. But yeah, I can't say enough wonderful things about him. As you know, we had our little lady in late December, so she is almost 5 months old already, which is just wild. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it also feels like it's been longer too. As you guys have seen, sometimes I'm posting 2 times a week, sometimes it's once a week. My goal is to continue doing 2 times a week. We have hit a sleep and feeding regression. We are on the back end of it, which is amazing. Knocking on the coffee table. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But that's why sometimes there will be 1, sometimes there will be 2. It's also hard during the summer. My son actually today was his last day of school. And so now he's home for the summer, which is amazing. I love it. Love to get to spend time with him, but it does make it harder because I'm a mom first and this I do second. So that's why you're going to see 1 to 2 videos a week, depending on how busy we are. This is already so chatty that I'm like parched as all heck. Another question that I had gotten are more kiddos. That is hard to answer right now because, again, we have a 5-month-old. So we're exhausted. We're stretched thin. It's absolutely wonderful, though. She is genuinely such a happy baby, which is just amazing. So if she is upset, it's for a reason. Probably 1. We'll see. We'll see on that one. Another question is, what is my background? We're very handy, all that type of stuff. So I went to school originally because I went to technically 3 schools, not on purpose, but I'll get there. So since the 7th grade, I knew the exact college that I was going to go to for the exact degree that I was going to go for. And I did do that, but I did not get that degree and everything. So since the 2nd grade, I had in my head, my direction, my plan that I was going to go to a school in upstate New York to get my degree in equine science and business management. So horses. I have always loved horses. And that was actually also another question, but we'll get there. So I went to school for equine science and business management, and in that very first year found out I was having my son, and so I finished out my semester there and then had him, and so I did have to put all that on pause. And then once you are sitting there young and with a little kiddo, it's hard to imagine leaving and going back upstate and trying to make all that work. So I ultimately did not go back to school for that. I sometimes am very sad that I didn't get to complete the degree, and that's a very vulnerable statement to say out loud, because it was always, I'm getting like teary. Oh my God. Postpartum's a little touchy too. It was always a dream of mine to complete that and do that, but it was more important to be a present parent and do the best that I could to provide for him. And so I did not go back to school for that. I actually ended up getting my degree online and got my degree in business management and economics. I got my bachelor's. It took me a minute because I had a young child, but I did end up getting my degree. That was something that was extremely important to me. My grandfather, he passed in October 2019, was the only person in my immediate family that went to college and finished. And so it was always extremely important to me that I was going to go to school and I was going to finish school. And so I was not going to let a baby stop me from doing that, but I was going to adjust as necessary. And I'm so glad that I did, because I was able to be a present parent and everything. But I did also work full-time while going to school full-time. And that was extremely difficult. And I don't think I would recommend the amount of stress that puts you under. I just, frankly, needed to be done. I was just too tired, but I'm glad that I finished it. So pivoting back for a moment, talking about horses. I was asked where my love of horses started, how involved I was in it in a sense. So I want to say, for my memory's sake, I would have to ask my mom. I had a pony ride when I was a little kid, like 3, 4, something like that, and was infatuated with horses, and it just never left my brain. And like, given when you're playing with the Barbie horses, the Breyer horses, everything, just any pony opportunity I could possibly have, I took it. I did start taking lessons in middle school. I started competing in middle school, also doing local horse shows. Went to school for horses, and so that was super fun as well, getting to travel to different places, different colleges. It was still like a little limited on what we could do, given I only went for a year. So I didn't get to enjoy the full capacity of what they had to offer. But after I had my son, I did get back into riding again. And that is when I bought my first horse, my own horse, not a family horse. And then I bought another horse because my first one was unfortunately injured. And he had gone to a retirement home. But that's when I bought Cass. And Cass, unfortunately, passed a year and a half ago. Just natural causes. It was out of nowhere. It blindsided me and was extremely, extremely difficult. I had him 8.5 years at that point, and he was only 16. So which for, if you know anything about horses, that's actually very young. He was a horse that drew the short straw on every possible thing that he could have. Any illness, difficulty, he had it. He just was such a combination of rough findings. I had such a time with that horse. Loved him so dearly. I literally have his face tattooed on my body because he taught me so much too. And he made me work so hard to be able to do what I could do. I did compete with him. I traveled around to different places in New York, went to Syracuse, went to Lake Placid, went to, Princeton, New Jersey, went to Vermont. Actually, I didn't go to Vermont with him. I went to Vermont with my trainer's horse. He had a mental roadblock issue, which seems fitting how I am. If I get my head wrapped around something, it can be a little difficult to move forward sometimes because I'm too fixated on an issue rather than a solution. But he was something. But he was just so wonderful. It was such a great attitude horse. Like, he would try so hard, but he just had a rough time. But he was so incredibly handsome. I'll put a picture of him. I miss him every single day. And that rolls into, will I ever own another horse again? Absolutely, I will. But I absolutely want to be done having kids, because once I start riding again, I know I want to compete again. I feel like I did well for what I could do at the time, but I also feel like I did not reach my full potential with it, if that makes sense. And I want to still live that dream. And I think that that's very fair. And fortunately for me, it is a sport that you can play and compete in much older in life. And you have people in the Olympics who are in their 50s and 60s, and I once dreamed of going to the Olympics, and I have since benched that dream, but I definitely dream about still competing in show jumping and going further with it than I did before. Now, bouncing back a little bit more, what was I doing for work before YouTube? So right before I started YouTube, actually, let's go back a little bit further than that. So what was I doing before we left New York? I actually was the assistant manager for a retail clothing store. I was there for almost, how long was I there for? Almost 6 years. I was there for 5.5 years. It is the only retail job I'd worked, and I don't plan to again. I did learn so much there, though. I started as a sales associate and worked up to an assistant management position, and it was really wonderful and great. And I was sad to leave. I was really hoping to transfer with the company, but they did not have a location down here in North Carolina at the time. But in case you're wondering what company, oh, I don't even have a tag on it. I worked for Carhartt. But it's very fitting as I've been in pony industry and everything else. But I did actually really love to work for them. They were wonderful. And the people that I got, the consumers, were great. And you got to know them on a personal level, which was always really great. But it's very helpful to have as much clothing as I do from them and do all these woodworking and landscaping projects and everything around our house. But that kind of rolls into, oh, I'm jumping around. See, I'm a little scatterbrained in general, and postpartum has just exacerbated it. But what I did when we moved here, so when we moved here, my son was virtual learning. Everything was closed because peak COVID. And I thought, oh, I'm only going to be home for a few months, and a few months turned to I'm still home, but I am working from home now. But I actually connected with Sky from House and Home over on Instagram. This was before I started my YouTube, and I connected with her because that's kind of how I fell into the home decor stuff, was finding a way to connect with people. I started my Instagram in 2019 because we had moved into our first rental home, and I was just kind of looking for inspiration and just a different thing to share kind of thing. So I just, for a whim, started an Instagram. And then when we moved into our rental home in North Carolina is when I really dove into home decor and everything. And I started to follow a ton of other home decor accounts and whatnot. And that's where I found House and Home, Sky. And she had a small shop, a small home decor shop actually, and she was looking for people in the area to come join and work for them, and that is how I connected with Sky. But that is actually what I did for a little over a year. I worked with her and Chad, and it was so wonderful, and it was so good getting to connect with them. But that kind of tumbled into me starting on YouTube because I had talked to her so much about home decor and all this stuff with that. And she kept telling me, you should really start a YouTube channel. You should be on YouTube. And I was like, no, like, I don't know. And then my mom chimed in too. And then my husband chimed in too. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a try. And I have to say, I have genuinely enjoyed the platform so incredibly much. It has been really fun. For one, connecting with people. I feel like it is such a different experience than what Instagram has to offer. I enjoy both, but I really love YouTube, and I love the long form content. I always struggled with the reels being so fast, not having enough information. I just want more. I want to know things more in depth kind of thing. And that's where I really gravitated towards YouTube and really enjoy it. I don't know how long I will do it for, but I don't have any plans to stop right now. I'm really loving that I get to connect with all of you, share our home, inspire you. It makes me so happy when you guys are sharing that I inspired a moment in your home. You're emailing me pictures. It brings me so much joy, and I love it so much. So please don't stop. But it has been such a great experience so far. We've got 3 years under the belt, and so let's see what the next year has to bring also. Another question is this our forever home? And I can quickly answer that and say no. We love this home. It is wonderful. It is providing something so great for us. But this is our first home, and this is definitely a stepping stone home for us. So we have just over 2,000 square feet. It is a good size, but as soon as somebody comes to visit, we all kind of feel on top of each other. And I think part of that is the fault of the layout, because we have a completely open downstairs. There is not a separate dining space. There is not a separate this, that. Everything is immediately on top of each other. And I think that's where it makes it kind of difficult, where there's no cozy corner you can kind of hide away in. The only actual space, I guess you could say, that does that is our screened porch. And that, you guys actually spotted that in my last making home video when I was adding the wall trim around the sliding door. So we have a screened in porch off of the dining space. It is very much a work in progress. It is very much messy. It actually is where we end up doing a ton of work. I don't know what just happened in my mouth right there. Because North Carolina, I was not previously warned, has some monstrous insects that I absolutely hate. I will tell you, I hands down cannot stand the wasp. Oh my gosh. Nobody warned me about how many different types of wasps there are, and that they chase you to and from your car. They like hide everywhere. They love my truck. They hide under the trailer. They're everywhere. So anytime that we want to cut a piece of plywood or break down something, if we try to do it in the driveway and it's not a cool day outside, we will get dive bombed. And I am absolutely terrified. I was stung by a bee, like total diversion here, sorry. I was stung by a bee one time in my life, and that is enough for me. We were on a family reunion trip in Hershey Park, and I sat back on a bee on the bus, like the shuttle bus to go somewhere, and it like got trapped on me and like kept stinging my back, and it was horrific. And I was in like middle school or something and traumatized, and so I'm just like convinced they're coming after me. But we do so much work in the screened in porch. So there is tile, sawdust, mortar, clay, dirt, like there's things everywhere in there. And I also only started to refinish the beams and the wood in there, and then stopped, got burnt out because it was such a gargantuan project, and then was pregnant the next year, and like we had to pivot to more important things. So that's going to be something that won't get shared for probably quite some time, because I can't. Like, I'm all for sharing before and after and progress and realistic things, but like it is so rough. Like I don't like to look at it myself. So that's why I have not shared the screen porch. One day, I'm actually kind of planning on doing an outdoor video of like kind of where we started with the landscaping and everything and where we're at now, because that is very much a work in progress. If you follow me over on Instagram, I've shared in my stories, we recently got our backyard excavated. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh, the way that this backyard was previously shaped made not a lick of sense. I don't understand what happened, if it was a matter of the developer just like didn't care when they built the house. We're the third owners of the house, so like this is an inherited problem. It just made no sense. It made absolutely no sense, and everything was super wild and crazy, and like there was barely any space to play outside, and we have almost an acre, and it was like a shoebox of a lawn. Like it made no sense. And now our lawn is like 4 times as big. So let me know if you guys would like to see like a little update. That's the bottle, steamer, sanitizer, finishing up. Let me know if you guys would like to see something like that. What the outdoor landscaping situation looks like. It's very much work in progress, but I'm not so mortified that I wouldn't share it at this point. Just so you know where I'm at. I swear, we're getting down to the final few questions. A big one. When am I going to be sharing Little Mrs. Nursery? Oh, let me back up a second. Okay. Another super, like, this might be the most asked question is, will I share my kids' names? And no, I will not share my kids' names online. If you know me in real life, you know my kids' names. But as much as I would genuinely love to share it with all the amazing people that I have connected with through the years on here, there's no way of keeping out the people that are not nice and friendly. And so that is just a personal decision that I've made for our family. My husband agrees with me entirely. And so that is why, no, I will not be sharing our children's names online. Jumping back, will I be sharing Little Mrs. Nursery? Yes, absolutely. ... We have not even started. So her nursery has just been a landing zone of a dumping ground for absolutely everything that does not have a home in our house, because we have such a lack of storage going on. And so it is all just ended up there. There's not too much left in there that has to come out, which is amazing. I'm hoping that this weekend we can kind of finalize that, because I would love to share with you guys what the empty space looks like. It is a very small, cozy nursery, given babies don't need a lot of room. How often do you actually go in there besides for them taking a nap and changing them? Like, rarely. If we're going to be playing, we're going to be playing downstairs, because that's where the family space is. So it's a nice, cozy space. Definitely going a little bit more moody is what I'm thinking. I picked out a wallpaper already. I got paint samples that color match to it. So I'm super excited. Yes, I will be sharing it hopefully soon. We're not going too crazy because, again, this is not our forever home. But definitely want her to be able to enjoy her space as well as she grows. All right, another question was, what is the next project after all this stuff is wrapped up? The next big project is going to be finishing my husband's office, because we have just neglected that for the past year. But in a very, before that moment of Sarah naturally thinking about things and spiraling, we will be doing a little mini room makeover for our bedroom. I actually ordered a new bed for our space already. I'm not getting rid of the one that we have that was from my grandparents. It's going to go in our guest space. So our guest bedroom currently has our old bed, and it's just got to go. So we're going to get rid of that one, take our current bed, put it in there so it matches the nightstands and the dresser that were also from my grandparents, and give our space a little bit of a makeover. We're going to paint boldly, I might say. So I'm really excited. I will absolutely be doing a video, maybe 2 on that. I might, I'm actually thinking I might do is wrap that into my Making Home series that I've kind of started, is kind of diving into that a little bit, because where we're at right now with projects is that we have to just work little pieces at a time because of having 2 kids, and there's nothing wrong with that, but things just don't happen as quickly as they used to. So I think I'm going to wrap that into Making Home. So we're going to do mini makeover in our bedroom, nursery, husband's office. The kitchen is absolutely still on the list of things to do as he's getting home with the babe. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. All right, and the last question that I got is, well, it's kind of 2 put together. Where do I find inspiration, and who do I follow myself? So I find inspiration through Pinterest and through Instagram obviously also YouTube. I follow a few people that are on both platforms. Some people are only on Instagram, but I really, really love Pinterest because you can search moody bathroom and find an image that you like, save it, and then you kind of teach it to find the things that you like the more that you save more things that overlap in a sense. But I really love to do that because then I can find certain elements of, I like this bathroom's color tone, but I like this one's tile, and I like how they had the light placement or the mirrors, and kind of hone in and build my own in a sense. I think it's really important when you are curating your home, decorating it, designing it, renovating it, have your own what? I'm blanking out right now. Make sure it has its own voice. You don't want to just perfectly carbon copy what somebody else is doing. That's not going to get you to a place of contentment, of being fully happy in a space to the point that you don't touch it, if that makes sense. So it's very much a follow what you truly like, invest in what you love rather than a fast fashion decision where you're constantly going to be spending money updating. And there's nothing wrong with refreshing a space, adding in a new element, living with it for a minute, and then realizing this doesn't work for me. I'm not saying create an idea and only stick to that idea, but I think it's really important to take the time to actually find what you like and what you want to welcome into your space and say about your home. And that's where I really love having a beautifully styled home, but I never want anyone to come in and not feel welcome and not feel like they can sit on my couch. I want it to be a very aesthetically pleasing, beautiful space that is welcoming and comforting and kind of gives you a hug as you walk in, if that makes sense. And I feel like I have accomplished a lot of that, and it's so important. Like, our kitchen is absolutely going to get renovated. Even if this is not our since this is not our forever home, I'm still going to renovate this kitchen because functionality wise, even keeping the footprint, because cost, the more you move things, the more it's going to cost you. All of the shelves in the cabinets are fixed. You can't move a single shelf in my kitchen. Blows my mind. So the functionality of it is super limited by what you have to work with. Certain cabinets are deeper than others, so I can only put plates in these versus these, and it drives me crazy. If it was up to me, I would have renovated that kitchen confidently last summer in terms of decision making. But finances wise, we have not done it yet because it is going to be every cabinet getting replaced. And so if you have great cabinet boxes, you can just refinish those, paint them, stain them, do whatever. But I don't have good cabinet boxes to work with. They're solid, but they're not functional in the slightest. And so that's where it makes it tougher for us. But I digress. Who do I follow? So I love Exo McKenna. I absolutely love her channel. I found her about 2 years ago now. Love. Especially love her cottage series. Oh my goodness, if you have not watched the cottage renovation videos, it is worth it to go back. I have actually gone back and rewatched some of those videos. She very much has if I can't hire somebody to do it or hire someone that's going to come, I'm going to just do it myself. And I think that's where my husband and I sit too. We're very handicrafty people. I've always been a very DIY artistic type person. I'm left-handed, so maybe that makes a difference in it. My husband actually worked in construction for a little bit, so he is very handy, and then I just dream, and so then the two of us together is just wonderful. Hence building a fireplace, heavily pregnant and everything. But love Exo McKenna. I love Jenna Pierce. I love watching this series that she has going on in her new home in Arizona. It is coming across so beautifully. I love it. and I love Hannah Naylor. She is so wonderful, is such a nice, kind person too. But I connect the most style-wise with Hannah, mixing the old and new decor. And so I really love her home. I love how she's curated it. But yeah, those are the three main ones I watch. I do follow other people too, but honestly, it's hard for me to take the time to dedicate to watch videos right now. So that is my short list of who I follow for right now. So that is going to wrap up today's video, friends. I sure hope you enjoyed this Q&A. If you have any questions left that I have not shared, please leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed this, getting to know me a little bit more personally. And just thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. I know that this was an absolute doozy of a video, but I hope that you still enjoyed it. But I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, have a great rest of your day. Happy Memorial Day weekend, and enjoy the time with your family. Bye.